Hey everybody, this is Dustin with www.gamblingonfreedom.com, and I'm a certified hypnotherapist who specializes in problem gambling, gambling addiction, and compulsive gambling. Today's video is going to be about a question that I got asked recently from a client, which was, how do I distract myself when I have the urge to gamble? Well, here's the thing, guys. You don't want to distract yourself when you have the urge for gambling. That distraction is resistance to the urge, isn't it? In my last video, I talked a little bit about how you actually want to embrace the negative emotions. You don't want to distract yourself from them because embracing them is the key to your freedom. All right, you have to understand what you're running away from is the very thing that holds the keys to letting you out of this locked cycle that you're in. Okay. People get stuck in this guilt shame cycle that I talk about in a lot of my videos. Just to give you a brief overview of what that looks like. You have these urges, you have these craving thoughts, these justifications, these reasons why you want to gamble. You have all these positive craving thoughts of gambling. Then you gamble, you do the action, you gamble, you feel relief, you feel good, and then you have shame and guilt because you lost all your money, you broke all your promises, you no longer believe that you can change anymore, you feel doubt within yourself, all these things. And all that guilt, shame, anxiety, doubt, fear, all that stuff just starts to pile up over time. Maybe it takes a couple days, maybe it takes a week until the urges start where you just start to justify the reason for gambling again. And then you go and, that cycle continues. So a lot of problem gamblers fall into the guilt and shame cycle. On the other side, there's the habit loop that gets created, right? Where let's say you have those urges to gamble, you go and gamble, and you have those urges to gamble, all the reasons why, the justifications, all those things, and then you go and you gamble, you feel really good, and then you win. So not only did you feel good here, but now you win and you come out better than when you went in, right? Maybe you made an entire paycheck's worth of money within only a few hours. That feels really good. So you have a dopamine kick here. And let's just say that's the cycle that keeps completing. So you either have guilt and shame because you lost, or you have dopamine kick at the bottom, which creates a habit. And so now you have the guilt and shame cycle and the habit cycle working against you. You do that long enough, and it'll become very, very difficult to break out of it until you know the secret. The secret really is emotional regulation, guys. When you can emotionally regulate, when you understand how to process your emotions, you won't need to run away from them. You won't need to chase them. You won't need to go after the exciting winnings, the money, the feeling. You won't need to chase this excitement, and you won't need to run away from guilt, shame, anxiety, fear, sadness, whatever else that you might be running away from to use gambling as a coping mechanism for. And so when you learn how to satisfy those emotions, then you don't have to distract yourself from them. And in fact, distracting yourself from those emotions is exactly what keeps them in play. You see, those emotions are there because you keep distracting yourself, because you keep resisting them. Resistance comes in many forms. There's resisting, judging, pushing away, suppressing, distracting, right? And we logically resist those feelings, those negative urges, those negative feelings. We logically resist those because they don't feel good. They don't feel good. We don't want that. And so we resist them, we reject them, and we push them away. And then what we resist persists and it gets stronger. Those feelings get stronger, and therefore the urges to gamble get stronger. Because the more the feelings start to stack up, the negative feelings, the more the urge happens. So if you distract yourself from the negative feelings and the urges, then you're just going to go gamble again. So you don't want to distract yourself. Even if you distracted yourself from those urges of gambling, it's only a finite time, right? You're going to have those urges again because you haven't satisfied the real emotional roots underneath it. I want you to ask yourself a quick question. What emotion are you chasing when you go gamble? What are you trying to feel? People don't just gamble for money, they gamble for a feeling, they gamble for emotional regulation. That's why you're gambling in the first place. First and foremost, a person gambles because that's the way their brain learned to escape negative emotion, negative feelings, negative scenarios in their life that are happening or have happened. You see, what happens is if you distract yourself, you're only going to make it worse. You're only going to make it stronger. Those urges will come back. So it's not about distracting yourself. It's about sitting with the feeling, becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable, learning that life isn't all rainbows and skittles, right? You can't have the good without the bad. You need the bad. Distracting yourself from the bad isn't going to help you. You need to embrace it. You need to embrace those feelings. You need to embrace what you've been through. You need to embrace your life. That is the true way to get out. If you want to get out fast and you want to pop right out of that cycle, that's how you do it. You embrace the things you're not willing to embrace. You embrace those urges. You feel the urge instead of acting on it, instead of reacting to the feeling. What you'll find is when you can embrace the emotion, when you can embrace the urges, then you get choice back. You get response instead of reaction, right? You don't need the feeling to tell you how you feel. You know how you feel. When you get to this place of inner knowing and inner understanding and inner peace, all the justifications and reasons and what ifs and all those scenarios that you create in your mind, they all just fall away. They all sound unimportant. It's almost the feedback I get from just about every client, really. When we go through this process together and they start to learn how to regulate themselves, how to regulate their nervous system, how to regulate their emotions, how to bring themselves back into balance, how to get that inner peace. When they learn how to do it, what they find is that not only can they handle the gambling urges, but they can handle others too. Maybe they smoke or drink when they gamble. Things like that start to fall away. Maybe they lose their temper quickly with their spouse or significant other who doesn't want them to gamble, right? That starts to calm down. Maybe they are depressed about something in their life that happened a long time ago, and perhaps that was contributing to why they're gambling. Maybe they're running away from that, and they realize that that's just the past, you know? And I know it sounds crazy. I know it does. I know it sounds too good to be true. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, when you learn the secrets, when you learn the ability, when you have the skill to just process emotions, to be able to do that at will, anytime, and do it so often that it becomes second nature to you. It'll become just as second nature as it feels to go gamble when you have the urges. What if instead of going to gamble when you have the urges, your natural tendency was to automatically process the emotions, was to automatically know and sit with those urges, to feel them so fully that they have no power. They can't control you. You have response versus reaction. What happens when you get to a place like that? I mean, if you could think about it like this, we only have a problem when we feel like we have a problem. That's why therapists will say all the time if they don't feel like they're having a problem, and they don't, because they're not going to come in to get help with it. They don't feel like they have a problem. So nobody complains about the part of their life that is going fantastic, going great, right? Nobody worries about the great parts. They only worry about the things that are causing them problems. And those problems are typically felt. So when you realize that you have masterful management over your emotions and you can simply embrace them, what other things in your life could be helped, right? It's not just gambling, guys. You see, gambling is just a symptom, it's just a solution to a problem, right? If you think about it, gambling is simply the solution. It's the coping mechanism to try and get away from whatever pain you're suffering from. Sometimes it's as simple as pain from the gambling itself, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's deeper than that. But you won't know until you actually investigate it, until you discover it for yourself. What is actually the problem? What you think might be the problem very often isn't. Because if it was, then you would have solved your own problem by now. So, whatever you think your problem is, just know that that's probably not your problem. And yeah, if you want to, if you want to explore this together, if you want to learn how to emotionally regulate your nervous system, get to a place of inner peace, inner knowing, and stop gambling once and for all, guys. If you want that, if that's something you really want to do, I can help you. Just click the links below, subscribe for new videos. I'm putting out new videos every week. Just subscribe below. Click the link. My website is www.gamblingonfreedom.com. Feel free to read about all the stuff on the website, book a free consultation, and let's get you your life back. All right, take care, everybody.